so big and powerful, calling themselves majesty. Every knee shall bow. God alone is, He alone is the one and only. To Him alone I bow. So whether you are ruler, Pharaoh, Caliph, or Lord, somewhere, somehow, every knee shall bow. Every knee shall bow. Bow unto the Lord. Every knee shall bow. And there are those who pray on the weak all day. Prefer when you're meek, turn the other cheek. Only the Almighty dollar they obey. See them sell their soul for silver and gold. Their fortune keeps mounting like a tower. They don't know the meaning of enough. They like to equate money with power. But things material rust, crumble into dust. For all who feel the Almighty, important and powerful, christen themselves majesty. Every knee shall bow. Jehovah alone is, He alone is the one and only. To Him only I bow. Whether you have millions, billions, zillions, or none, somewhere, somehow, every knee shall bow. Wana kusifiwa. Oh yeah. For higher with the rolling thunder, to hear cymbals clash and trumpets blow. I believe wrongdoers will go under, like so long ago, back in Jericho. I wonder how our leaders sleep at night. Do they ever dream while poor people scream? The same ones who say they'll put the wrong things right, once they reach on top, become more corrupt. To the grassroots cries become unconscious, while family and friends they patronize, and then they wash their hands like unctuous, because they in charge. Feel they larger than large. Warn them all who feel the Almighty, omnipotent, powerful, emperor and majesty. Every knee shall bow. He alone is the one and only. To Him only I bow. Whether you have mansions, palace, villa, or none, somewhere, somehow, every knee shall bow.
Promotion presents We Outside Tobago Carnival 3, October 24th to 27th, an all-inclusive package, inclusive of breakfast, lunch, and accommodations. Smith Drive, Lowlands, Tobago, opposite Gulf City Mall. Limited spots. Book yours now. Call 713-4029. Accommodation options: 1 bedroom with a kitchenette, 2 beds, up to 4 people, or 2 bedrooms self-contained, 6 people max, queen size, plus single beds. Check-in time 2:30 p.m. Check out 11 a.m. Limited spots available. Prices with breakfast and lunch: $2,000 per person. Breakfast only $1,700 per person. Half payment due by July 31st. Pay off by September 30th. Non-refundable. Payment plans available. For more info and to book your spots, call 713-4029. We outside Tobago Carnival 3 from October 24th to 27th. All courtesy Brown Eyes Promotion. We do not own the copyrights for the song playing in the background.
The biggest mistake ungrateful people make is not realizing that one day they might need you again. Feed a dog for 3 days and it will remember you for 3 years. Feed a person for 3 years and they will forget you in 3 days. The bite of a reptile is less painful than human ingratitude. Virtue is brave and honesty is fearless. Ungrateful people are like birds. You help them fly, and once they're up, they dirty you. Never do good if you are not ready to endure ingratitude. An ungrateful person needs only one mistake from you to forget all the good you've done for them. Some, for whom you have made sacrifices, will one day tell you they never asked you for anything. When you have a good heart, you help a lot. Trust too much.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to those of you locked on YouTube and on Facebook. How are you guys doing? How are you guys going? How is everything? Hey, I hope everything was good. Hope you all had a good weekend, right? I hope you all had a great weekend. I am happy to be on this evening. I hope that you guys are hearing me properly. I really hope so. I trust and believe that Facebook and YouTube, you're hearing me very good. All right? That's all I'm saying. I really trust and believe that Facebook and YouTube, you all are hearing me perfect. Great. All right? It's Monday, and so much things have been happening in Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of things have been taking place. And not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but the world. The world. We heard what's happening in America. Donald Trump decided that he is going to raise the tariff. Some people saying that it doesn't really bother them because I was listening to Duma, and Duma was saying that it doesn't really bother him. It doesn't really bother them because why? Duma says that most of the things that they import is from America. No, it's not from America. It's from China and other places. So they don't see it affecting them in any way. But while he is saying that, on one hand, remember, let's look at it from other perspective. Let's look at it from another perspective. In the context of, so when you send across your goods to America, you sell across your whatever, your Malta, your Shandy, and you decide that and America decides, okay, it's now 13 or 15% tariff, they have to pass that down to the consumer. The consumer could say yes, consumer could say no. I was planning to get former Minister of Finance on the phone, Mr. Manning, so that he can give us his perspective on this whole tariff thing, you know what I mean? This whole tariff and how it's going to affect us. Right? So, I was planning to get him on the line. I am going to try now and see if he is available. All right. So let's see what Mr. Manning has to say about. Let's see if he'll take my call. Let's see if he'll take my call. So I'm going to try to get on to Mr. Manning, right, and ask him to explain to us the effects of this new tariff, right? So let's try him and see what he would say. Right, so I'm going to get former minister in the Ministry of Finance. Let's see if he's on. Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
I know I tell you.
Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear. Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right. So I know I told you a certain time, but I was having some technical difficulties. So now that you are on with me, I was sharing with the listeners and the viewers about Donald Trump and the tariff.
Yes.
And I was drawing a comparison because I was listening to Duma, the president of Duma, and he was saying that what boy? If you are most of the things that they import, he's saying they import it from China. So it's not really going to affect anybody. But I am thinking if I selling stuff to America, right? Yeah. Let's say I am a massive manufacturer of soap. And I was to all right, so I do a container full of soap and I sell it to America. So the tariff is now passed on to the person who is buying my soap.
Yes.
And they now will pass on the additional expense to the customers.
Yes.
So if the customer decide, nah, boy, me paying so much of that soap again, where's my situation?
Exactly. And what they're saying is when they say your product becomes less competitive, they really mean that the cost of your product goes up in comparison to its competitors. Oh. So persons are less likely to choose your product. And the president of Duma also has to take into consideration that the energy sector, the United States is still our largest trading partner. Second would be CARICOM. So we have petrochemicals, you have oil and gas. All of these things would attract a 15% tariff. So, we also have to consider several aspects of our manufacturing sector and also our SMEs. Many of our SMEs be offering goods to the United States. Yeah. And it just makes things a lot more difficult. It reduces our supply of foreign exchange, which to me is the most critical part, especially at this point in time for Trinidad and Tobago. And I just want to explain to persons how the exchange rate works. Our exchange rate is based on the supply and demand of foreign exchange.
Right.
So we live in an era of online shopping where there is increased demand for foreign exchange.
Right.
And at the same time, with this tariff and our goods being less competitive, it would reduce the supply of foreign exchange. So when you have huge demand and not enough supply, it puts pressure on the exchange rate for a devaluation. And that's where we are right now, and that is my major concern going forward.
Okay. What, because I'm not hearing the government really saying anything about this, eh? That's one. Two, is there anything that the country could do or the government could do to buffer this?
Well, I believe that they have to begin negotiations with the United States government immediately. They have to get to the table exactly how. They would have their channels open to them. That's what the Minister of
Foreign Affairs,
should be doing. And they should get the U.S. government to the negotiating table and have us sit down and ask, what do you want? Right? And then we come to terms with them to have these tariffs removed. I saw several countries receive a reprieve in the last few months, but it didn't last very long, and eventually the tariffs were implemented, and in some cases increased, including Canada.
Well,
And
yeah.
this is in spite any kind of free trade agreement that would have been signed between the various countries. The United States has a free trade agreement called NAFTA with Canada and Mexico. In the Caribbean, we have the CIB trade agreement, which is CBI, the Caribbean Basin Initiative, which allows free access of certain goods and services to the United States.
Right.
So the U.S. government has defied all of these trade agreements and decided to implement these tariffs. So I would say negotiations need to take place at this point, and they could be very sensitive.
Okay. All right. Well, this
Yeah.
is real interesting, eh? Because
Yeah, there's a lot to be considered. Yeah.
yeah, and my thing is, what there's silence on the government side.
Yeah, well, they were the ones calling for sanctions when they were in opposition, not so? I just think we remember them. They're calling for sanctions against their own country from the United States. So now that they have been sanctioned and they've been hit with these tariffs while they're in office, I would like to see what answer they want to give.
Well, yeah, this. I'm sitting here, and I'm seeing that I would have thought that they would have called a press conference, and they
Yes.
would have given, they would have at least given the country some sort of, as you just said,
So,
they would have said to us, okay, so we're going to meet with America, because apparently I believe that the Prime Minister and Trump does collaborate. Notes, they would be talking from the same handbook.
yeah, but I mean, we have various U.S. interests right here in Trinidad and Tobago, especially in our energy sector. And petrochemicals are a huge demand in the United States for the agricultural sector. So we do have some leeway with the U.S. But I'm very concerned for the economy going forward. This government has backed itself into a corner by eliminating several avenues for increased revenue generation. They shut down the TTRA, the Dragon deal, the Point-a-Pair refinery. That was on the verge of being reopened by the previous government. Now we're being hit by these tariffs, which will also reduce revenues to the government. But yet they have made incredible, ridiculous promises to the population in their manifesto during the election campaign. How are we going to meet those demands? Plus meet the existing demands. We have subsidies, we have transfers, we have all of these expenses, and at the same time, meet our other obligations without increased revenues. And everybody's been asking that question, where will the revenues come from? And to date, we have not heard any kind of reasonable or sensible answer from the state.
But last week in the news, we heard some flimsy excuse why salaries wasn't able to.
Correct.
Being a former minister in the ministry.
Economy.
So being a former minister in the Ministry of Finance, what the Labour minister would have said, is that actually, is that possible?
I think the Minister of Labour is out of his league and does not know what he is saying. The government is having difficulty meeting its financial obligations. It is simply that simple. That is what is happening. We are having revenue shortfalls. We already had a $9 billion deficit from the last budget. We have another budget coming very soon. That I would love to see exactly what they do. And we are having difficulty meeting our financial obligations because this government has decided to back itself into a corner by eliminating several avenues of additional revenue, simply to spite the previous government and sadly at the same time spiting the people of this country.
Well, this is because when I heard him say, I was like, what? I couldn't believe it.
The people in the labor movement in this government are going to have a harder and harder time explaining their continued involvement with the UNC going forward. Because so many of what this government has done so far has been anti-labor, that they're going to have their membership to answer to, and they will not be able to answer. How is the leadership of the PSA going to explain to its membership that when they don't receive their 10% salary increases, and then when they realize that implementing the same TTR rate that the PSA also undermined could have generated the additional revenues that could have covered those salary increases? You had the PSA fighting against the very thing that could have covered the cost of that increased salary. How does that make sense? You have thousands of, tens of thousands of this part, of tens of thousands of employees in CPEP, URP, forestation, all unemployed at the same time. Unemployed just before the new school term. Are the members of the labor movement comfortable with that? I heard one labor movement member in the parliament callously refer to these people, some of them the more vulnerable people in our country,